What do you think about technology debt? What does technology debt mean to you?
Whenever they go for a customer meeting or anything, they say, okay, I want this feature. They never thought about the tech debt which it used to create. Legacy systems where we had products in Fortran, COBOL and old tech stack.
But in manufacturing, you cannot really purge it. You have to maintain the data for the lifetime of the vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
And then plus some years because of regulatory compliance. So that becomes a new challenge for you guys.
Yeah, correct. You're very much right.
I was talking to a customer from an insurance organization a few weeks back, and they were talking about how the demands of the government has changed in the last 30 years. Their systems haven't, their core systems are the same, but the data model itself, right, of what they capture has drastically increased.
But now with the AI in place, we are getting lots of requirements from the dealers. Hey, other vendors are providing this, why don't you provide? So initially it was just lying over there. Now eventually we started using this data for predictive maintenance and analysis, and we're getting huge data. We were managing 4 to 5 million devices.
At the pace at which technology is growing, how would you keep up? What is your vision for how you keep up with all the changes that are happening? Hello and welcome to another episode of The Archivist. I have here with me Aswathy, who has over 20 years of experience with data and AI. Aswathy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Aswathy. I have 20 plus years of industry experience, and I was initially part of cloud modernization products, and now I'm into data and AI and trying to explore how data can be leveraged for predictive analysis, and also how we can do the application modernization through AI. These are my current scope of work which I'm into.
See, today we are going to talk about technology debt and how it impacts the growth of AI, right? What do you think about technology debt? What does technology debt mean to you?
So technology debt, I can share you one of my experience in my previous organization, where the speed of execution which the product team wanted was too high. Whenever they go for a customer meeting or anything, they say, okay, I want this feature. So product used to put lots of pressure on our dev team to implement that feature quickly.
Okay.
And they never thought about the tech debt which it used to create. Okay, when I joined that particular team, basically it was a device management team where we were managing the devices of a big organization. We had almost 500k devices when I joined. Eventually it became 4 million. So when we were having 500k, these features, it was easy to implement, even though they were creating tech debt. But when it became 4 million with that scale, managing that with this level of tech debt became really a tough problem to solve. So I always felt that we should never create tech debt. And also in my current organization where I am into, we have several products, small products, which are legacy systems where we had products in Fortran, COBOL and old tech stacks. So the problem currently we are having is our product team want to add more features to these products, but no one knows the working or impact or how this is written, because there is no specification also available.
See, this is exactly what I was, talking about previously also. Tech debt can quickly build up, right? And from an AI perspective, in the age of modernization, one of my colleagues was telling me that, I can have the job of 10 developers done through one subscription. And it's just crazy how much we can do things fast, but only if you have access to all of your legacy data in the right way.
Yeah.
Correct. And technology debt is definitely hindering us from making that progress. See, one thing that I think our audience will also really like to know is how technology debt impacts AI adoption. In the world where everything today has to be run with AI, how does this legacy systems or technology debt impact the growth of AI within your organization?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it is impacting the growth of AI. In fact, we are leveraging AI to modernize these
Oh,
applications.
wonderful.
So this the example which in fact last week only we completed this project where the tech stack was Fortran. Okay, we leveraged one AI tool to convert that to the Java tech stack.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this, in fact, I would say it helped, right?
Wow.
Because earlier our team was spending almost 2 developers were sitting and for last 3 months trying to understand the code flow. So what we have used is we have used something called SpecKit. I mean, we have our own customized SpecKit tool,
Okay.
which will read the Fortran code, leverage LLM, and convert that to the specification and the flow, the function
Wow.
flow. So, in fact, we could able to create the specification and also a modernized code
Wow.
in Java. So this really, it's a live example which happened in my own organization, and
Wow.
now we are actually doing the testing, whether it is giving the exact
How accurate do you think it is?
it is actually our evaluation is 60% it is accurate.
Okay.
That 40%, since it is now already in Java, we are able to understand the code and we are able to add
make
on it.
changes. So
Even we are using VS Code and the agent mode where the code we don't have to write basically.
you
right?
just have to give prompts to make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we got a very good specification to refer.
Very
So
cool.
the overall turnaround time has significantly improved. Even our developer productivity is improved. Imagine this Fortran code, which is almost 5,000, 6,000 lines of code. If you have to understand that, first you need to understand the technology, the coding style and everything. Then you need to understand the flow. Then you need to create. And it's a huge 6 months project, right?
Minimum,
It's hardly
yeah.
2 weeks we took. Now, only thing is we have to add that two or three modules, that 40%. I would say around 60-70% it's already done. That 30%, whatever is missing, we need to add.
You have to prompt it, make it accurate, and then take it for
Exactly,
testing.
that's it.
See, that takes care of the app modernization end of it, right? What about the data? See, I'll be more specific. I was talking to a customer from an insurance organization a few weeks back, and they were talking about how the demands of the government has changed in the last 30 years. Their systems haven't, their core systems are the same, but the data model itself, right, of what they capture has drastically increased. So typically when somebody is coming in for an insurance, they used to get their name and their ID. That's it, any form of ID. Today, it's mandatory to capture their Aadhaar, their income. There is so many other parameters that they have to capture and they have to know from a KYC standpoint. Now, it's interesting because that old data, without any of this key information, still sits in this old system. And then you add new data with a much different data model. And if you are trying to train AI on this data, you're going to, for sure, get into hallucinations because it's incomplete, incorrect data. Have you faced challenges like that, or is that something you could talk about?
Yeah, as part of this product itself, we had the old data model, and now we have changed that to NoSQL, that different data model. And we are actually working on currently, like how do we already it is this 60 to 70% it's already working, because the type of queries and things used in the new Java code is also kind of same. But eventually the data size volume has grown. Okay, even now to leverage that AI and those predictive analysis using this data, because this particular system is used by the dealers who sell the vehicle. So to tell them the prediction, like what will happen in to this, and so for that we still have to work on it, because it was the old tech stack and old type of data and data model. Now actually we need to do some more investment in the data side of things. Actually, we are exploring, the Google Pinecone, which is vector DB. To put that, because currently it is just the system and it's a old SQL, NoSQL kind of a DB. But now we are exploring the Pinecone, the vector DB.
See, but what if I
embeddings.
told you, okay, first let me say, using NoSQL is a very good idea because it's a more open format, and then when you're moving from an RDBMS, you'll automatically capture everything. So, and you can extend it without too much of a hassle. But it still creates another problem of immutability. Not all the data models or data types will be supported, and then would that not be a case for archiving the data, like taking the data, keeping it immutable, keeping it untouched in an archive system rather than actually trying to migrate it into their modern system? What do you think about that?
Yeah, but I felt that we have to have the old data based on my 2 projects which I have worked. We cannot just discard the old data.
We're not discarding. When you archive it, you'll still have complete access to the data, right?
Yeah. That is the so that can be used for leveraging the analysis for the new system.
New systems, yes.
And then we need to create the new data model for the new
that
system.
would be
that is what we are also planning.
Okay. So you are planning to archive the information. That's very cool.
Yeah. And also, the vector DB is definitely required,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Otherwise, we'll not be able to get that embeddings and we'll not be able to do the proper prompt engineering and everything. So we are currently evaluating 2 options, keep our old DB and data like that and create a vector DB for our prompt engineering and other kind of queries.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. What we have seen organizations do is take all the old data models, archive it, still have the new systems access it for analytics and for predictive analytics purposes, but then build a new system on a much more modern data model that can capture more data points, endpoints, can use vector DB, can create better embedding, and then simply refer this if required for those specific purposes where you will have to do predictive analytics.
We are also doing the same
very cool.
thing. Yeah.
That's very cool. Now, again, going back to technology debt, right? Where do you think your organization failed or has the most challenge in this modernization initiative?
Yeah, the main thing is the company where I'm working is an automotive company where the main business is sales, dealing with dealers and all those. So they have not invested initial days in the technology, the old modernization of the existing products. So now in the industry, so they were using the same product. Anyway, it is working fine.
If it's working, why not?
Yeah, why should we change?
Yeah.
And minor changes they were. Now it is AI, the AI era.
Are these homegrown systems?
Yeah, it's all homegrown system. And there were some maintenance, some people where it was outsourced to some other organization. And it was like a maintenance support kind of mode it was. But now with the AI in place, we are getting lots of requirements from the dealers. Hey, other vendors are providing this, why don't you provide?
Of course.
Right? Even one of the example is suppose when you capture a picture or a video when your car is not damaged, they want to use AI to scan and tell which part is having a problem or which part needs to be replaced and all those stuff.
Wonderful.
So when you have an old system, these kind of things will not work.
Modernization cannot happen.
Yeah, they never thought about it. So now we are trying to change everything and convert to a new system so that we can leverage all the new technologies. So it's actually a problem when organization is not investing on these old tech stack and trying to maintain it as long as they want, because now we are struggling. We are hiring people who can help us to do this change. It's a complete transformation from the CTO level which is happening here.
What is your vision for modernization? At this point, your organization has taken a decision to modernize, right? How do you, and at the pace at which technology is growing, how would you keep up? What is your vision for how you keep up with all the changes that are happening?
Yeah, I can talk from the our organization perspective because we are also doing a competitive analysis for other automotive organization and the technology, the telemetry which they capture and IoT kind of telemetry which they are capturing from the cars and trucks and what capability they are giving, and we also want to give little above than what they are getting from other
Absolutely.
companies, right? So we are actually evaluating and trying to do. So first, it has to be a phased approach. We cannot just directly go to the latest thing and do. So what we are doing is now all our systems are very old. First, we are trying to do the
Start with the
modernization. Once that is done, we will be leveraging the latest tools and technologies available to implement the latest ask from the products.
Okay, wonderful. Now, one thing that we have seen organizations do is to build a practice of data management in line with the application modernization initiative of how they manage the life cycle of data. So one thing that we propose to organizations is to start an archival practice in parallel with your modernization initiative, so that any data that is business complete or any data that is not going to be edited any longer gets into the archival system. And doing that means your data growth and your footprint on the current system is very minimal. That way, in case you have to increase, let's say, the amount of data points you are capturing through sensors, or if you want to modernize again, add another new initiative, a feature, it will be easy to implement that on your current system. We have seen that work with a lot of organizations. I suggest, that is also something that you can take up to.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, we are not, in this application modernization project, which I was just mentioning, we have two persistent store. One is for our old and one is for the new. That is something similar which we are exploring. Yeah, this project is underway. So I definitely it's a good suggestion and we will definitely take it.
Absolutely. And, from a savings perspective, right, is this modernization initiative self-funded, or are you looking at, your organization funding this initiative? Or
Yes.
does it pay by itself, as in the benefits outweigh the investments being made?
Because it's actually now we have to do it. So it's we have a lots of support and funding from our products, because when our GTMs visit the customer side, they are comparing with other manufacturers and
who are
saying,
from
you are not providing this. I'm getting this telemetry, and there is something called uptime for vehicles, right? So those features are available. So if we are not implementing that for our vehicles, it will definitely, will not get the business, right? So it's an initiative from the top level to implement and invest on technology at this point of time. It was not the case earlier. They were okay with the existing products.
These vehicles, right, that gets rolled out, all the new, automotive systems today, they all have, I think, anywhere between 50 to 300, 400 sensors that constantly send data to the manufacturer, right? One thing, this is something that I have talked to other manufacturers about, and it's very exciting for me, is just the sheer volume of data that one vehicle makes. And then for an automotive company that rolls out 20, 50,000 cars a year, the amount of data that just gets captured and the data that is available, so that when the vehicle comes for service or maintenance, you know exactly what has happened. You have the history of how all these sensors performed, right?
Yeah.
And the analytics that you can do on that is just crazy.
Yeah, that's
right?
what. Even I have another example where similar thing. I was managing the devices before my current organization. We, as I mentioned, we had around 4 million devices, and every 2 minutes we get the data from the devices. So initially it was just lying over there. Now eventually we started using this data for predictive maintenance and analysis, and we were informing the admin of those organization, hey, this device is not working fine, or it can create this issue. Because I was working in that meeting space, so some critical meeting is planned in that meeting room, and if the device is not functioning, uh, obviously it will be a
You
big
will have to
issue,
go
right?
back and do. Yep.
So earlier, when the device is not functioning, they raise a ticket to us and we act on it. But with the help of the data, as you rightly said, we started.
You can have live insights,
exactly.
and then you can do predictive maintenance so that issues don't
Maintenance,
occur.
yeah, correct. So we started doing that. So
That's just crazy,
I
right?
think it's not only in automotive domain, any domain
Yes.
where they are managing these devices or car, anything whichever capture the data. Nowadays we have this technology in place which can be used for analysis and.
Yep. See, I'll talk about one actually customer of ours who, I think they did this before 10 years or 5 years. I don't know the exact period. They started capturing all this information from vehicles. Now their challenge is their expected lifetime of the vehicle is 30 years. And then they need to keep the data for another 10 years after the 30 years. So it's a total of 40 years, right? What has happened is that the data size of managing all this data in cloud has become extraordinary. So we actually work with them to offload that data. So anything outside the current last 6 months data comes into the archive, where we manage it in a very cost efficient way. And then they only do their predictive analysis and their maintenance and everything on the current latest data. They still refer to the old data. For example, like if a customer comes in and says that, hey, this part which was supposed to be working, the transmission line is not working, they would want to know if it was a fault by the machine or it was done through human mistake, right? So for those reasons, they still access the historical data, but primarily the archive serves as something that they don't touch every day. And by segregating that information and archiving it, they have been able to manage this explosion of data in a much better way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember something similar which we have done in one of my previous organizations, where we were getting huge data. We were managing 4 to 5 million devices.
Oh, wow.
And this data definitely, the telemetry data, we don't have it is unusable after certain
period of time.
So we have created some algorithm, so we will not store the complete data. Instead, we
see, if you purge it, that's great. Then you know that your growth is not going to exceed a certain level. But in manufacturing, you cannot really purge it. You have to maintain the data for the lifetime of the vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
And then plus some years because of regulatory compliance. So that becomes a new challenge for you guys.
Yeah, correct. You're very much right.
Yep. But it's just very interesting, right? When you are going through a transformation and when you're talking about technology debt, AI has definitely fast-tracked the time it takes to do modernization. Do you agree? Like what it takes. You were talking about something
it's
that takes 6 months. Is getting done in 2 weeks. It's just amazing.
Yes.
And you were talking about something like a 60-70% efficiency. We have seen organizations do that with almost 90-95% predictable efficiency. I think that's also about how much the models are trained on your code bases and how much prompt engineering goes behind it. But it's just still from what we used to do 2 years back to what we have now. It's just amazing.
One more thing is the production issues these days, right? Earlier, we used to refer our TSGs, right? The troubleshooting gates for when you get a production issue.
You go what?
We usually go and refer the troubleshooting gates, or we ask someone how to solve it. But these days, with the evolution of AI, this data is there. The history of incidents are there in the system. And also you have your user manual, which we can actually create the embeddings by importing that into
the LLM.
LLM, right? So when the issue comes, earlier our turnaround time used to be 1-2 days. Okay, for now it has become 1 hour or less than that, because the moment the issue comes, AI run on it and it reads
Yes.
the heading of the issue and similar
compares
issue,
it with previous issues, what was done as resolution, takes the manual,
and tell
compiles the data.
Support engineer, hey, this is what you have to do. Refer ABC, these incidents in the past.
Yes.
And that's one area which I felt it's immensely used AI.
Oh, yes.
Because the production support, otherwise, the call center, you raise a ticket, it takes time.
1 day SLA, 3 day SLA, they will come back.
Yeah, that area, because it's my own experience.
It definitely reduces a lot of heartburn, right?
Exactly, yeah. Because we have implemented the project for improving the productivity, the mean time of resolution.
Okay.
And it has given a significant positive output.
See, having information at your fingertips, compiled in a way that it makes it usable for you, is very, very powerful. And I think that's what AI today does for us, especially in these areas, right? Where, if you're dealing with 50,000 lines of code, and if you're dealing with legacy systems that needs to be managed with manuals that run across, 100 pages, it becomes difficult, and definitely AI helps us manage it better. You gave a very interesting insight. Coming into this meeting, I was thinking that, how is technology that going to stop AI? Now I'm thinking, how can AI help with technology debt? How can AI remove technology debt? It's just definitely a great insight, and thank you for that.
I think we all have to spend more time exploring the AI tools, because there are so many new tools coming up. If you check the GitHub,
there's modernization every day. Yes.
There are so many tools coming up, and we all should explore that, and so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel, because it's many people are working on, for even the college new graduates, right? They are creating the tools and publishing. It's available. So I strongly encourage everyone to understand there are some good websites where you can subscribe. GitHub has got so many
Medium,
modules,
lot of them.
And try to understand. Maybe the project which you are currently working might be, if you refer that, it will be helpful. You can leverage something from those existing tools rather than trying to build something. So that is one thing which I learned.
Very cool. That's good parting thoughts. Thank you for talking to us.
And thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening to us.
Let's talk archival.